So, in an ideal world, I wouldn't be filming my first ever video with a cold and miserable and having to pause to cough, but I procrastinated for so long in making this video that I have literally no other choice because the reading rush starts in like 2 days. 2 days. I have 2 days to film and edit this. Like, why did I do this to myself? Anyway, that is probably going to be like on par for how this channel goes because I like to procrastinate until I have like no outs and I'm really stressed, and that's just how I work. So, hi, I'm Caitlin, the busy book girl, and as you might have guessed by the name of the channel, this is mostly going to be a channel about books. I've been reading for a long time now, since about 5th grade when I fell in love with reading after a long history of hating it, and since maybe about like my freshman year of high school I've been really into BookTube, but sometimes I find that like even though I get to hear other people's opinions about books, I want to talk about my own because I have a lot of opinions and I like to talk, and like I need to talk about some of these books. But fair warning, this will probably not be a family-friendly BookTube channel. If that's what you're looking for, there's like thousands of other BookTube channels you can go to get that. But sometimes I have very strong emotions that need swear words to get them across. Sorry if that offends you. So, most of what I will be reading is like YA books because that's a lot of what I read and like what appeals to me. Maybe might read some books that I have for like classes, might read some just like random weird books that show up because a lot of times I find that I read books that like no one else has really reviewed on BookTube, and that's like kind of annoying because then I just want to hear other people's opinions, but I don't have that outlet. So I'm hoping maybe some of the books I read can be like smaller ones that a lot of people haven't talked about, and like if you read that random book and like no one's talked about it, you can come here and maybe I've talked about it. I don't know how often I will post because part of the name of the channel is Busy Book Girl, and that's because I'm a sophomore journalism student at Emerson College. Right now I'm on summer break, so I have a lot of free time, but once I go back to college, it's just gonna be a lot of work, and I don't really have time for reading, which sucks because I love it so much, and I used to read like 100 books a year, but then now that I'm in college, it's like homework and essays and everything, and when I have free time, I find myself just like watching YouTube and not, wanting to read. But you know what? I've been watching YouTube for years now and watching BookTube for years now, and I figured, why not start now? My journalism classes have taught me some of the skills that I need for like editing and recording, so why not put them to use for something that I'm like already passionate about, and that's reading. Like I said, most of the videos on the channel will be about books, most likely, but there probably will be some other things, like some concerts or some story times, or if people ever do watch these videos, like whatever they want from me to like upload. But probably, yeah, just a lot of book reviews, and then eventually in a couple of months I will be traveling abroad in Europe through my school, so then I will probably have a bunch of like travel vlogs and going around Europe and like what it's like going to school in a castle, and yeah. So just a bunch of like different little things, but mostly reading. Part of the reason I finally decided that now is the time to make a BookTube channel or a YouTube channel in general, and when I've been like debating it and thinking about it and just never doing it for years, is because the reading rush, like I said, starts in 2 days, and every year I've watched it but never participated in it. I've always just been like, I'm too busy, I don't care, it's my summer, I want to take a break, I don't want to read. But this year it just like really stuck to me, and I was like, I want to do it. I want to do the reading rush, and I might as well just like take the time now to start a YouTube channel while I do it. That being said, I know the reading rush, it's like read as many books as possible, but your girl works 8 hours a day because I need to be able to afford food when I'm in Boston. So as of right now, I only have plans to read 3 books. If I have more time to read more, then like great, I'll read them. But for now, I just have 3 books, and that's like my main goal. So the first book is Bird Box by Josh Malerman, based like from the Netflix movie, and I only recently watched the movie. I know it came out like a little while ago now, but like going through a bit of a Machine Gun Kelly phase. It's weird, I don't understand it, it's fine, but he's in the movie, so even though I hate horror, I forced myself to watch it for him. And it's actually a really good movie, like I loved it. So I saw this book when I was like out of the state, actually, like when I was in Minnesota traveling, and I thought I was gonna run out of books to read while I was there, so I saw this one, picked it up, but never got around to reading it. So I think that'll be a fun read for this like booktube challenge, especially for this reading rush challenge, especially since it's like a story I'm familiar with already and I do have like limited time to read and it's a smaller book. The second book is Thunderhead by Neal Shusterman. I've read Scythe already, but for some reason I just never got around to reading Thunderhead. And it's funny because this is actually an ARC that I got at YALLFest in 2018, or 2017 actually. And I started reading it. I pulled the bookmark out of this like a week ago because I started reading it, but I just never got around to finishing it. And like, I have a shirt with like the Scythe like original cover on it, and sorry, I loved the first book so much. Like I read it so quickly, but for some reason this one I just like couldn't bring myself to finish. I think it was because I started reading it like senior year of high school when there was a lot going on and I just like, yeah, didn't really have the time to read. So that's the second book. And the third book is After You by Jojo Moyes because I loved Me Before You. It's one of like the books that has made me cry the hardest in my entire life. Like genuinely, I was sobbing so hard reading Me Before You at the end that I had to put the book down for like 20 minutes just to like calm down to be able to finish the last couple of pages because it was heartbreaking. And I was always like convinced that that story was over and it didn't need a second book, but I found this one at a Goodwill near me and like I couldn't say no because it was cheap and like, and yeah, even though I thought there shouldn't be a sequel, I was interested in like seeing how it ended. So I figured for this challenge it'll be like good and like light because these other books, Thunderhead and Bird Box, are heavier stories. Like Thunderhead's about a society where like no one dies except for these scythes that like decide who lives and who dies and just like on a whim can kill people. And like it's a, I guess you'd call it like sci-fi book, so that's like takes a lot of like brain power to put yourself in that world and think about it. And even Bird Box, it's like basically a dystopian, so even that's like you have to think more about it and put yourself in that world. Just as After You is just a contemporary, like nothing wrong with contemporaries, but they're easier to read because it's like this world and just a different story. So I think it'll be good for the reading rush aspect of this because I can read it like fairly easily. Not saying it's not gonna make me cry because it probably will, but like it'll be easier to read than like a sci-fi or a dystopian book that takes more like I need to put myself in this world. So yeah, I know you're supposed to read like 7 books for the reading rush, but I don't have time for that because again, busy book girl and also just lazy book girl, to be honest. Like anyway, while I'm reading these books I'll make sure to like film it and update it for you guys. I'll probably just do like one big reading rush vlog at like the end of the rush and like it'll just show you everything I did throughout the week, like updates on reading the books and like the things, the challenges and the sprints and stuff that go with reading rush. And then I will probably do like individual reviews for the books at like the end, separate from that specific vlog. You can also find me on the Reading Rush website. I will link that below as well as my Twitter. Don't really use my Twitter, it's just like there, has the same username, so I figure I might as well just link it. Yeah, that's it for this video. It's basically just me talking about who I am and like the reading rush, and yeah, so see you guys later.